All right, good morning and welcome back to our App State Football Weekly Press Conference with head coach Sean Clark. Mountaineers will be traveling to Louisiana this Saturday for a 7:30 p.m. Eastern game, 6:30 Central. Coach Clark will give us an opening statement and then we'll take questions from the media.
Good afternoon. We're getting back to work this week to prepare for a challenging road trip to Louisiana, and we're addressing the areas that we need to shore up in order to put ourselves in a chance to win football games. Our goal this week is to go 1-0, like always. Our players and staff have been through a lot over the last 9 or 10 days, but we are Mountaineers, resilient, tough, strong, and we're going to make sure we go out Saturday and represent the A in the right way.
Bob Dillner, Appalachian Weekly News, App TV. Sean, just want you talk about shoring up some areas and so forth. What's your evaluation? You had some time to take a look at that game and so forth. What are some of those areas that you're really going to concentrate on this week going into Louisiana?
Well, first and foremost, we make sure we don't turn the football over on offense. I thought to take those 2 turnovers away. It's a 1-point game at halftime. And I thought we ran the ball well early. I thought Joey was making some great decisions. He'd like to have 2 throws back. On defense, we make sure we fit our gaps the right way. And in our defense, it's a challenging defense to go against, but if you don't fit your gaps the right way, and it's a recipe for disaster. And some of the big plays that we gave up against Marshall, one player didn't fit their gap the right way. And you look at the first half, if you take the 75-yard screenplay away, there's 100 yards of offense and giving up 14 points instead of 21. So we're addressing those as we speak. We got in at 2 o'clock Sunday morning. We were back in here at 9 o'clock Sunday morning to meet as a staff. And I met with the offense, met with the defense and special teams, and to make sure we get things corrected. That's my job as the head coach, to get it corrected, and I know we will. I think we have great players and great kids that want to do the right thing, but if you have to make sure you do your job, and you can't try to overcompensate and try to make the play when it's not your play. If we do that, then we'll have a better football team.
In the past, Sean, you've said it's an eyes thing for the defense. Do you think that's still the seeing how things develop, or do you think it's something else?
No, I think it's when defensive football is your eyes and feet. You got to make sure your cleats are on the ground. You make sure your eyes in the right place. If it's a split flow play where the tight end comes across, our linebackers got to add on to the opposite side. And if it's a middle of the field coverage and we're out in the middle of the field, then that's not doing your job. And again, it's not because they're not trying to do the right thing. It's just trying to overcompensate. And if we get back to just doing our job, we'll have a better chance for success.
Hey, before I give up this microphone, I want to talk a little bit about this community around here, everything that everybody's been through. Your players have been out there volunteering. You've been out there. Can you just give us something in terms of, how inspired you have been with this community in Western North Carolina, especially around this part of the high country?
Yeah, I'm very proud of everyone in Western North Carolina, especially here in Watauga County. It's different when you know people who are going through those struggles right now and lost things, and we want to do our part. And football is very important. It is. There's nobody who wants Appalachian to win more than Sean Clark. I can promise you that. But the people in this town mean something to me, and we will make sure we're here for them.
Chris Womack, WLOS. Along that same vein, your team was so active in the community last week, helping out where they could. What does that look like this week? Are you going to kind of keep that same mindset?
We are. I think that's the most important thing right now, to get out and give back. I mean, our community means a lot to us. We mean a lot to them. So to make sure we get back and make them proud. But we're going to make sure we continue to do the right thing. And the right thing is to volunteer, to get with people in the community, get with other organizations, to make sure we're giving water. This morning we're loading generators on helicopters as we speak. And I think that speaks volumes to the character we have right now. Football is we're not winning right now the way we should be winning. But again, I'm very proud of our players, the way they represent this university and the way they represent this town.
What do you hope this experience impresses upon the players and maybe changes them going forward?
Well, it's one of the situations that I think it talks about life, and there's going to be circumstances in life that don't go your way. And Chris, you can speak for this yourself. You went through some hard times here as well with the storm. But what do? Do you just give up, or do you go back to fighting? And I think it gives us a great life lesson to when things doesn't go your way. Or what are you going to do? What are you going to be remembered for? To get back up and get back to work and get your family in the ground. It's no different if you're a coach or someone out in the real world that loses a job. What are you going to do? Are you just going to quit, or are you going back to work? and support your family. And that's one of the lessons I hope we learn this week.
Before I ask my final questions, I do want to thank you for your concern and that from Joey and Brett and everybody here at App State. It's really meant a lot during this time. When you look at Louisiana, the offense seems pretty balanced. What stands out about them?
All of it. They have great players, a great quarterback. Their offensive line blocks very well. They have 2 running backs that can really give you those 3 and 4 yards at a time and have the speed to go the distance. The receivers are excellent, and what impresses me most of all in the receivers, they block, and that's hard to find in college football. So they do a great job blocking the perimeter, but again, a great football team. Mike's done a great job there, and so we look forward to this opportunity to play on Saturday.
David Ware, 24/7 Sports. Sean, you mentioned some individual breakdowns defensively. Single guys that are busting their reads or not in the right place. In terms of moving into this week and just dealing with, let's call them repetitive mistakes, what is the process for you guys assessing the personnel on that side of the ball and evaluating where changes may need to be made?
Well, we met yesterday morning get our best personnel on the football field. And we had our team meeting yesterday. I told them every job's up for grabs right now. And we'll make a decision on Thursday or Friday morning who will be starting the football game. We got to make sure we get the right people in the right spot, and when they're in the spot to go make a football play. And you mentioned some different plays or specific plays you're talking about.
Well, I mean, the long screen play that you mentioned was one. They had a couple of touchdown runs that broke pretty wide open. They had the late touchdown pass that also was a pretty clean path to the end zone. It just seemed like, it's one thing to get beat on a good play by an offensive player when you're in the spot and they just make a play on you. It's another thing when somebody's walking into the end zone basically uncovered.
Yeah, I'll speak for the screenplay. We had 4 players over, and they had 3 players, and we had to make sure we had 3 guys fit outside of it, and 1 guy supposed to be on the other side of it. And then if you don't fit it right, that's a touchdown. The long pass, we were in a cover 2 shell, and we were rolling to 3, and the safety's got to get off the hash and to the left upright. And again, he's trying to make a play. The quarterback pumped it one side and brought it back to the 3 receiver side, and but we have to be on the correct upright. The long run you talked about, I believe, was going toward their scoreboard. It was a zone read, a split flow play. The tight end goes across, and we have to make sure our backers are over top of that. If we do that, one's boxing, one's spilling, and one's boxing, one should be in the right spot to make that play. But again, those are correctable things we had to get corrected, and those are day one installs, day one things we have to get done. And I know we will. There's no doubt in my mind our players will go out there and get it corrected.
That was the 3rd offensive line, different starting combination you've put on the field in the last 3 weeks. And you mentioned you guys got the run game going. What did you see out of this particular starting group that maybe started to click and open up some of that space?
I thought we ran the ball well. A lot of times is you have to be able to move someone off the line of scrimmage. And these games are one up front. And I thought our guys battled well. And I think we ran 96 plays on offense for a little under 500 yards. I take the 2 picks back and the 2 sacks we had. But we did some good things we can build upon. And you have this new offensive linemen that are getting used to one another. Sometimes it's never perfect. It's going to be what we call dirty runs and dirty plays. At 3 or 4 yards is a good run. And I thought our running backs ran hard for the most part and gave us a chance to win. And I'm proud of our players for never giving up. And again, we're down 21-10 at halftime. We got to stop there by our defense. We're 3 and out. Now our offense got to do a better job going down the field and scoring points. We had momentum several times in the game that we couldn't capitalize on. But there's no doubt in my mind we'll have put a great performance on the field Saturday.
There were some players, some projected starters every week who were missing on Saturday due to injury. A couple of guys came out dinged up on Saturday as well. Can you give us a health update and how you think that plays forward towards the future of the season?
I'm trying to think which ones it would be. You have any specifics? Christian Horn, he's going to be day by day. He suffered an injury in practice last week. Michael Hughes will be out for several weeks with a lower body injury that happened during the storm. But we hope to get some players back. Michael Hurts is practicing this week. I'm sorry, Jason Hurts. Michael's his dad. He's a high school coach in Charlotte. Jason will be back this week. He's practiced yesterday. Will give us some depth at nose guard. We do have several guys that are out for the year. and that hurts the depth-wise. But again, I think our players are giving their all and giving our best opportunity to win the football game.
David Rogers, High Country Sports. Speaking of the running backs, we didn't see Anderson Castle at all on this weekend, and there were a couple of short yardage situations. What's his status?
Day by day. He was injured this past week, and when Anderson Castle says he's sore or hurt, then you trust Anderson Castle. And we're never going to put a player in a position to hurt himself worse. It was doctors and trainers said it probably wouldn't be a good idea to play him a lot at running back. He could play some special teams, and that's what we did. So I trust Anderson Castle. When he's healthy to come back, he'll tell me, and he'll be back in the rotation.
There was something, I think it was plus 150 some odd penalty yards. How do you correct that?
That's not good. 15 penalties for 158 yards, I believe. There's penalties. There's football penalties, and then there's dumb penalties. Those unsportsmanlike penalties, those are unacceptable. Those have been addressed. Those have been taken care of yesterday through some ways. But again, we never condone unsportsmanlike conduct. That's hurting yourself. That's hurting your football team. A pass interference, that's a football play. That happens. A holding call, that happens. But we can't hurt ourselves and get dumb penalties. And those were some dumb penalties we had on Saturday.
I'm aware there's some other professionals or athletes around in the area that lost housing and so forth because of the storm. Is everybody okay with regard to housing and on the App State football team?
Yes, we going back to earlier, we had 28 players. This is last Monday without water or power. Our athletic director, Doug Gillens, did a great job to help us get places to live. We have some in hotels. We have some in apartments now. So as of Wednesday, we were all had power. We all had water. Again, that's a thank you to Doug and his staff, our university. Again, I'm proud of our university, Chancellor Norris, who's feeding our community here at App State and Central Dining. So we're going to make sure our players' safety is first and foremost, and we'll continue to do that.
Zach Colburn, Watauga Democrat. Coach, I know the next home game is 2 weeks away, and I know there's been a lot of home games in limbo. What kind of update has Doug Gillen given you on that?
You have to ask Doug. Again, we're day by day. So that's a Doug Gillen question. I would love to play here in Boone if we could, but we're going to do what's best for Watauga County and Boone, North Carolina. And if that's to play here, we'll play here. If that's to play somewhere else, we'll play somewhere else.
All right, any other questions? Thank you.
But thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it, bud.